Hey, this is Calvin Parker. You're listening to the Unbelievers podcast.
There were several groups. One of the principal ones was the reptilians from the Orion complex.
Without any exaggeration, it was like being on fire inside.
Rats were eating you inside.
This stuff was in my mouth. It felt like it was 500 degrees. It was unbelievably hot.
My first question would be, were you a member of the Church of Satan, a card-carrying member of the Church of Satan?
I don't understand.
There's always an argument for everything. You know, just because somebody can fake something doesn't necessarily mean it's
and we found a life form. And that's when I started shitting my pants.
So for the person who called, I am carrying an alien.
An alien baby. We covered right here, okay?
Okay.
Something is happening. What is it? That's the question. So do UFOs exist? It depends on what you mean exist.
There is a special subset of cryptozoological creatures with the ability of flight. These creatures have been dubbed by famed cryptozoologist Lauren Coleman as winged weirdies. In previous installments of the program, we've discussed winged weirdies such as the Thunderbirds and the flying humanoids, but this time we are upping the stakes by talking about two different but equally terrifying mysterious flying monsters, and we will let them fight. Tonight, the Unbelievers podcast returns to the skies for our first ever War of the Winged Weirdies, pitting together two of the most obscure small-town cryptids who ever wreak havoc from above, both tall humanoid abominations, both with leathery bat-like wings, and both with unique supernatural-like powers that have terrorized their respective regions for over a century. So join us now for the tale of the tape and the War of the Weirdies. It's time for Winged Weirdies, Batsquatch v. Van Meter Visitor. Right here on the program, we continue to learn to unlearn everything you know. Hello and welcome to the Unbelievers podcast. I'm your host, Rus Ryan, and joining me as always is my co-host, Drea Mora. Hello, Drea.
Hey, what's up?
And our soundboard engineer and producer, Rob Okey.
Is what I call winged weirdies.
What's going on?
Hello.
How you doing?
There we go. We got a little introduction of what we're doing. That was, of course, Lauren Coleman mentioned in the intro, the king of the cryptozoologists and what he calls winged weirdies.
Is what I call winged weirdies.
That's right. This time we're doing this is going to be a little different winged weirdies, all right? We're not just going to be laying out these stories. We're going to be doing that. But we're also going to do a little war of the winged weirdies. These things we're going to pit them against each other. So you guys ready to get into this?
They're going to war? Yeah.
Really? They'll have to. This is the civil war of winged creatures.
Wasn't expecting that, but okay, yeah, sounds fun.
So let's get into it now. Winged Weirdies, Batsquatch versus Van Meter Visitor. Scary monsters. It's appropriate for tonight because somehow Winged Weirdies has returned. This is the third installment of this series. Who knew that there were so many unknown aerial biological beings in this cryptid universe?
I lost track. I thought this was the second time.
This is the third, and I'm something of a biologist now, so this field is becoming very exciting to me. Like I said, this Winged Weirdies is going to be a little different. This is going to be a battle. This is a TOA style. That's exciting, yes?
Oh, shit.
Always.
Yes.
Always.
I need to get my bracket filled out.
Why are they fighting? What happened? Why are they not getting along?
Yeah. I was like, are they having some kind of conflict?
Yeah, what's going on there? Is there mortal conflict? Is that what's happening? They're going to battle to the death?
We are engaging them. These are our combatants in our Unbelievers arena for the night. Enough messing around. We're going to meet the first combatant. In this war of winged weirdies, hailing from Washington State, it's Batsquatch. All right, welcome, Batsquatch. No, he's not here. This is possibly the weirdest of the winged weirdies. Batsquatch is a flying cryptid that was allegedly sighted near Mount St. Helens in the 1980s. It resembles a flying primate similar to the ahul and the orangutan of Southeast Asia, and its name is a portmanteau derived from the words bat and Sasquatch.
No.
And it is what you think. It is a large, hairy biped with wings.
All right. So it's half man, half bat.
No, it's half squatch, half bat.
But also, it's very man-like, it sounds like. Well, but you did say that it's a primate.
Not
a
man
flying
bear
primate.
flying primate. Maybe it's an adult rebob. We'll keep that consideration open, but this thing is going to... It does sound like the last 2 episodes, we've just taken names of animals and monsters and mixed them up. Bearilla, Batsquatch.
It almost sounds like we're making it up ourselves.
Yeah. Is this real? Are these stories real? Where are you finding these?
This is real. A witness allegedly took several pictures of this creature. However, these pictures, they have not been analyzed, and they thus cannot prove the creature's existence.
What do you mean they've not been analyzed?
It's a blurry style creature. I don't know. They don't want the scrutiny. And this creature is said to have yellow eyes, a wolf-like muzzle, blue fur, sharp teeth, bird-like feet, and leathery bat-like wings that span up to 50 feet.
Jesus, 50 feet. Okay, first of all, none of that description sounded like a Sasquatch.
The blue fur? That's a blue fur, bird feet? That sounds like Sasquatch, right?
50 feet?
The wolf muzzle? Yeah, 50 feet. What the hell? How big is the body then? Is it just tiny with huge ass long wings? Or?
No, it's huge like Bearilla. It's a huge Bearilla style creature. But in addition, Batsquatch, yeah, he is said to be 9 feet tall, and he has the ability to affect car engines.
Oh.
And some think because of this might be possibly a misunderstood sighting of Mothman, considering it can affect man-made things like Mothman can.
Oh, don't you do that. No, don't bring Mothman into this.
I don't see the connection to that at all. I think Mothman is its own thing. It is not a hairy biped with wings. That's totally ridiculous.
That's more like a Lizard Man association. Lizard Man, didn't he chew on cars, the aluminum?
Cars,
He ate like air conditioners and he beat up cars and scratched them and shit. But I don't know if he affected the engines, with his mind. What is?
Wait, hold on. Batsquatch is not tinkering with the car himself,
see, I thought
the battery or something.
What's he doing?
He's doing it with that's his supernatural power. A lot of these things have supernatural powers. One of Batsquatch's supernatural powers, he can make cars just stop.
So he's like a car psychic.
Oh, but he can't turn them on again. He just turns them off.
He doesn't need to turn them on. He's trying to stop people.
Interesting. Weird power.
It is a strange power.
All right, so he'll be good for car chases. That'll be the only
they end really quick
I can think of.
When Batsquatch is on watch. Batsquatch is best known not for this story, but for the beer named after him. The company Rogue has a very popular IPA called Batsquatch. And I think he's much more well known for his beer can than for his actual story. And here's the description of the Batsquatch IPA. For years, rumors have circled that deep in the woods of Mount St. Helens lives the fabled Batsquatch. While there are many tales of Batsquatch, they were all a bit hazy on the details, which makes the truth such a juicy mystery. So what better to honor the elusive legend than with a hazy IPA, perfect for camping and potentially making a new friend. This juicy, cloudy IPA features intense tropical flavors and aromas.
I want one.
Sounds pretty good.
I've never seen it before.
I think I've heard of this.
Yeah. I like their Juicy Haze IPA, but I've never heard of that one.
It's starting to ring a bell now. I think I've seen this in the grocery store before.
I totally haven't. I feel ashamed that I haven't. All right, I'll look for it.
It's worth it just for the can, I think. The can's got a great design. But the company, to familiarize people with the Batsquatch, Rogue released a cartoon short to tell the legend of this hazy and aromatic winged weirdie. And I'm going to set the scene. There's a white hipster dude. He's in a bar, and he asked this to the bartender.
Yeah, can I get a Batsquatch, please?
What do you know about the Batsquatch?
It's a delicious hazy IPA.
You know the history behind that beer, young man? Let me tell you a little story. It was May of 1980. After months of earthquakes, Mount St. Helens unleashed her wrath upon the Pacific Northwest. But in the center of the chaos, deep within the explosive mountain, something was just waking up. No one knows for sure if the Batsquatch was born from the hellfire of the volcano, or possibly an ancient beast trapped in hibernation for hundreds of years. What we do know for certain is he only started to appear after the mountain grew.
Whoa, wait a second. Batsquatch sightings? So people think they've actually seen this thing?
You heard the old man. People have seen it. This cryptid has an origin story. He's a volcano monster. When Mount St. Helens blew, out came Batsquatch of this. This is a very informative beer commercial.
Yeah. I wish more beers did this. Have a little movie.
So this thing's really a mythical beast.
A recent mythical beast, at least according to the beer company, that it just popped out of Mount St. Helens in 1980, that as if it's been locked up in there. Maybe it caused the eruption. Maybe this is like a West Coast Mothman.
I don't know how much I trust this beer commercial, though. As far
what are you talking about?
As far as giving us like legitimate background information.
I think that it's a completely normal source of information. I believe it because an old guy in a bar who's talking like that and sounds kind of like Sam Elliott is somebody you want to trust.
That's not an exaggerated old man voice at all. Perfectly, we've heard that. We all know that old man in the bar. We've heard it. But the cartoon IPA consumer, he has a question for the old man that I'm sure we are all wondering.
What's it supposed to look like? A Bigfoot with wings?
Yeah, people have seen it all right.
Answer the question, old man. And I'm going to confirm that, yes, it is just a Bigfoot with wings. That's what Batsquatch is.
Yes.
Except it's got blue fur and it's got like a wolf snout or whatever. And it doesn't sound like a Bigfoot.
It sounds like more like Dogman almost.
Yeah. Like, dog bat.
Bat dog man.
Bat dog. There we go. God, I'm stupid.
You can tell
Bat
this
dog.
old prospector has come across this thing at least once in his
like,
long lifetime.
People have seen it, all right.
The old man has some tales. The old man tells him about one of the most famous Batsquatch sightings, which occurred in 1994 when a trucker named Brian Canfield had this late-night encounter with Batsquatch.
On his way home from a fisherman's speed dating event, suddenly, without cause, his truck lost power and he came to a halt. Out of the darkness, a large beast appeared in front of his dash. It was a 9-foot-tall humanoid creature with bat-like wings and a blue fur coat. The angry creature jumped up and took flight, vanishing as quickly as it had appeared.
Damn, that's some crazy stuff.
Yeah, no kidding. Those are the special powers we heard about. He made that car malfunction.
That's cool. And he did it while wearing a fur coat.
Yeah, that's some crazy stuff.
Stylish.
And while being a 9-foot-tall flying Bigfoot. And this is the Pacific Northwest. We can say Bigfoot and not worry about any kind of backlash.
Oh, yeah, good. I was super worried, so that's a relief.
Yeah, I always have a problem with that.
Well, this Batsquatch, he isn't only sighted in Washington State, even though they kind of claim him. He's got his own beer base there. There's also been a series of sightings in Texas, because he flies now.
What?
The Batsquatch can go wherever he pleases.
Yeah.
So let's hear what Batsquatch is up to in Texas.
The buzz all started in the first couple months of 1976. Things came to a head when a man in Raymondville, out in his front yard, was attacked by a creature that he claimed had simian and bat-like features and leathery wings.
As the story goes, Armando Grimaldo stepped outside to enjoy the quiet evening. He heard a papery flapping noise above him and felt a strange draft. By the time he looked up, it was too late. Grabbed by the monster, Grimaldo finally managed to break free. He reported the attack to the police.
And his story was corroborated by his neighbors because the back of his jacket and his shirt had been shredded by what appeared to be talons. After that attack, the story went wild. All of the newspapers were reporting it. Other reports began to pour in. People were making their children stay indoors. They were afraid that the creature might attack them.
This predates the Mount St. Helen flat by a few years. This guy's got snatched off his balcony by Batsquatch.
Yeah, I guess it could have been just like I don't know what he said, papery wing sound. It's just a beer in a paper bag.
If you imagine that, like, it just doesn't have good wings, that this thing is kind of flying around, and
it sounds weak.
It's
right?
Yeah, the wings are just papery, flapping around.
Well, you think Bigfoot was just bored and made like an Ewok style glider out of branches and leaves and stuff, and that's why he's flying around?
I mean, I'd be pretty bored if I was stuck out in the Northwest woods doing nothing else. having beers named after me because of that.
Bigfoot might be more clever than we think. Maybe he did construct his own little wingsuit for himself. He got bored.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like
he's inventing flight.
I feel like this thing is sounding more and more like, Mothman, just like a weird, like Mothman sort of a creature, just with not as good of wings, like with just kind of crappy wings. They're like paper.
Yeah, I mean,
like freaking paper fluffing around. I can't get over that.
50-foot wingspan is what's really throwing me. It does remind me of the Thunderbird. That
sounded like a bit of an exaggeration. That's from the Cryptid Wiki. I don't know. The beer didn't tell me. I don't think the beer company said 50 feet. I don't think in Texas they're saying that.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
It sounds just like what happened to that kid playing football and with the Thunderbird.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it sounds like. Yeah.
He got picked up and they went for a beer. He got his jacket torn up. That sucks.
Yeah, they both
That's
got
enough
their
evidence.
Torn up.
Talon marks in a jacket. That's a clear Batsquatch evidence if we've ever seen it. But the reporting on this case, it didn't refer to the creature as Batsquatch initially. They gave this weirdie a different moniker.
The media immediately seized upon the name of Big Bird for this creature.
Come
but
on.
I'll tell you what, this creature was not fuzzy. It was not yellow. It didn't have a funny-looking beak. It was hideous.
I'm Big Bird.
No kidding.
I'm a friend of Kermit's.
Oh.
Big Bird is not a frightening name for a flying Sasquatch at all. The branding was way off to start with this.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I was afraid of Big Bird on Sesame Street.
Come on.
Because it's huge. Really.
He is pretty big
like,
and
this was
creepy.
hideous. I'm like, yeah. He looks like he's made of like corn pops. And just
imagine if he had paper
massive.
wings too.
He's so nice, though. He's so nice.
He's
the nicest
nice.
bird in the world, Big Bird.
Yeah, I mean, pilot whales can be seen as nice, but then they accidentally drown you because they're trying to play with you. It's just he was too big. I'm like, nah, he's gonna step on me.
This is what Big Bird was getting up to at night. Was flying around Texas in the 70s and snatching
Getting
dudes
drunk,
off their
snatching
balcony.
people. Yeah,
It just seems like uncreative. Like they could have come up with anything else besides just Big Bird. It's like, I don't know.
that's true.
They eventually correct that, and now we're going to hear from a man named Dr. David Bowles. Dr. Bowles. He is the author. He's the author
I like where
of
this is going.
Mexican Bestiary, and he is about to tell us why this part of the country is a very bad place to encounter Big Bird.
The idea of winged attackers is especially frightening in a place like the Rio Grande Valley. Such an open place with no caves or forests to hide in. The idea that you might be attacked at any moment, that those talons could reach down and yank you off the ground, was enough to make people want to stay inside and give up their daily routines.
Batsquatch, he thrives in this Rio Grande Valley environment. He can just yank you at any moment. There's no place to hide from him.
Yeah, you don't want to go get yanked as soon as you get outside. Some people, they have to disrupt their daily routines because of this.
Yeah.
For how long?
Life in this, if you lived in the open plains and I guess with no shelter, you were pretty scared of, they
Getting
told you it
yanked.
was Big Bird.
Yeah.
This is Batsquatch, clearly.
You just got to keep your eyes on the skies, pretty much, I think, if you're living out there, because it sounds dangerous. It sounds like somebody got snatched up, because obviously they wouldn't just be doing this for no reason.
But there's other sightings as well. In February of 1976, the brothers David and John Dott had an encounter just north of Houston, Texas, with Batsquatch.
I was 23 and my brother was 21. My brother David was driving. It was a nice little car. We were on our way to work on the night shift at a local manufacturing company.
Bye, hon. Hey, come on, we're late.
Come on, man, we're always late.
We took the usual route that we always take. And we went about a mile or so down the road where it was just pastures on both sides of the road. We were listening, of course, to rock and roll music, as we always did.
Man, what is this junk you're always listening to? When are you going to get some decent music in here?
Really cool story so far. They are just really painting this picture for us. But I'm confused. Okay, he says they always listen to that great rock and roll music of the 70s that everyone loves, but one of the brothers sounds like he can't stand it. Is this like a daily fight these guys are having?
Is this another beer commercial?
That does sound like a good beer commercial background music.
Yeah, it feels like one.
It's just one of those sibling things where it's like he's gonna shit on him no matter what he puts on. That was fun. I wouldn't mind driving to work listening to that.
Driving to work in what kind of car was it? It was a nice little one. You know the type.
You know the type.
And play soundboard 1, because this is what I say when Rob picks the music for those live streams.
What is this junk you're always listening to? When are you going to get some decent music in here?
Hey!
All right, sorry about that.
Man, rough crowd.
People like my music.
People like me.
Why don't we get some real ones?
I like your music, Rob. You're good.
Oh,
You're
thank you.
Back to the Dutt brothers and the events leading up to Batsquatch.
All of a sudden, he said, "Look up ahead." There was something standing in the middle of the road.
He ain't gonna move. You need to slow down.
It was right in front of us. There was nothing but that creature in the headlights. You could absolutely see it. And it had really intense red eyes.
The wings were more like bat wings, not feathers, but more like a bat look to it.
And it took 3 or 4 steps towards the car.
Back up.
I just freaked.
And then it just flew right over the top of the car.
That's an intense sighting there. And I noticed that traditional yet controversial rock music that they love so much, it was still playing. Batsquatch, he didn't even use his car deactivating powers there. Maybe he likes that song.
It. Yeah,
he likes that song.
I like how basically it was a terrifying encounter and then the music comes back to kind of calm you back down. Maybe he's not trying to scare people. He's just trying to party.
He was, but these guys are on the way to work. They're not in party mode. And the Mothman connection, it's starting to make a little more sense because he said it's got glowing red eyes or red ice. I think he said play soundboard 2. What do you have?
Had really intense red eyes.
Oh,
that's some intense ice. It's red.
Red eye. Why do cryptids always have red eyes? Why is that a thing? Like, no other animals really have red eyes, do they? Like, except for...
I think it's just
I think it's just a reflective quality of some animals' eyes that are not
I've never seen
an
animal's eyes reflect back red, though. I feel like those little details tend to be peppered in just for extra, oomph, exaggeration.
Usually, they reflect yellow, generally. Like, if you're driving and you see an animal on the side of the road that reflects, yellow lights.
Green.
So that's kind of what I always assume people are kind of talking about, is that sort of effect happening. But red, I guess, I don't know. I feel like that's
it's a cryptid special, the red eyes.
Yeah.
That's how you get on cryptid shows. You can't just see reflective blue eyes or white eyes.
Red
You're not going to get
it's
on
a demon.
Yeah. It's from another world. I guess they were maybe, interdimensional creatures. Their eyes reflect differently, possibly.
All right, Rob's got some hot Batsquatch theories. I like this.
I don't know.
Good science.
Just throwing it out there.
Although this event occurred in 1976, these brothers, they did not come forward with the story until almost 38 years later because they felt that the world needs to know this. It's not a big bird. It's a flying 9-foot-tall ape-like barilla with bat wings.
Yeah, you guys need to know about this 38 years later.
And now we do, because their silence for so long regarding this experience is understandable, according to cryptid investigator and Lyle Blackburn style imitator Ken Gerhardt.
I got excited for a second. The Lyle Blackburn is talking about this? It must be
just
real.
The same hat, no hair.
Okay.
Well, that's the best part, is the hat, so I'm all in on this guy.
It's understandable that they're very hesitant to talk about these things publicly, because they've obviously seen something that is unexplainable, something you can't find in the science books.
Back in 1976, we were pretty young, full of piss and vinegar, as they say, and so when you see this huge creature flying at you...
John, let's get out of here.
Yeah. Let me tell you what, that changed our attitude. We weren't so full of ourselves after this.
Batsquatch really humbled these guys. It taught them a thing or two about being so full of themselves. Yes, these two elitist night manufacturers and their pedantic music debates, they really got knocked down a peg.
I'm just picturing Fraser and Niles Crane driving down listening to their symphonic music instead and being humbled by a Batsquatch. I would watch that episode of Frasier.
That's a great simile. That's exactly what is happening here. It's almost identical. And I've got one more famous Batsquatch attack for you guys, but before that, Let's listen to this short clip and really appreciate the writing and narration of possibly the best paranormal show, of course, Monsters and Mysteries in America.
In the 1970s, witnesses claim a bizarre flying Frankenbeast, Batsquatch, unleashed terrifying airstrikes from the skies of South Texas.
Airstrikes? That has a great mental image of a flying Bigfoot. He's making these precision attacks at these high-risk targets, like guys going to the night shift and truckers. Airstrikes.
Yeah, I read my mind there. He's like on the walkie-talkie just calling it in.
It makes it sound so much more tactical than what it actually is.
Yeah. Well, Rob, I guess Russ was right. They are at war.
Yeah, that's true. The war is developing in front of us right now.
We're going to learn about both of these creatures we're going to talk to tonight are made for battle. We know this thing can unleash airstrikes and stop mechanical things, whatever it wants. So now for the final Batsquatch airstrike. This is also from Texas in 1976. A man named Manuel Perales and his son Danny, they had this close encounter with Batsquatch while hunting in a deer stand one chilly morning. They're there in the deer stand. They've got a cooler full of sandwiches for the long hunting day. Ham sandwiches, tuna sandwiches.
Tuna sandwiches?
We don't know.
Oh, God.
Ham sandwiches or tuna sandwiches.
We don't know.
Sorry.
Suddenly, a deer approached them, and the dad, Manuel, he nudged his son to take the shot. Everything dies, I believe he said. But his son couldn't do it. His son could not kill the innocent and majestic deer. And here is his father's reaction to this failure of an offspring.
He turned to his father and simply shook his head. His father was clearly upset and took aim to take the shot himself. However, his rifle jammed, and at that very moment, the deer bolted. His father turned to Danny and asked him, "Why couldn't you take the shot?" Danny, before he could reply, was startled to see his father suddenly pulled to his feet. He saw his father gripped by the talons of an enormous avian humanoid that flapped its wings and tried to lift the man out of the deer stand.
Yeah, this escalated quickly. What's going on here? The hunter has become the hunted. What do you think? Maybe Batsquatch is friends with that deer or wanted the deer.
I think that they might have been unrelated because, what if there were people or some other predator who was hungry and just, was just doing what it does? Why would they protect the deer from that particular situation? I know they probably didn't need it to eat, but
it is a weird situation of a guy with a gun and then a Batsquatch launching his airstrike at the same time. There's a lot going on in these few seconds here. And you can see this. So Manuel, he's in a bad situation. He's got a flying Bigfoot making off with him. His gun is jammed. That deer is long gone. And the only one who can help him is his useless son who can't even shoot a deer. But not so fast, though, because Danny, he's about to unlock a new skill tree. Cryptid Hunter.
Nice.
And Danny, without thinking, stood, lifted his rifle to his shoulder, aimed for the beast's eye, took the shot. It howled in pain, released his father, fell with a thud, and then it wheeled away through the sky, screeching in pain.
Dad! You all right? Danny capped the Batsquatch. He's like a folk hero now.
Yeah, see, he just needs the right motivation. He's like, look, this deer, it's beautiful, it's majestic, I don't feel like shooting it, but this other thing's attacking my dad. Yeah, I'm gonna shoot that. That's fine.
Dad really learned a lesson today. It's like he was about to rip in his son for not shooting that deer, and his son ends up crack shot, takes him out.
The whole scenario is pretty ridiculous. It sounds like it's very like something from a movie. The way that it all goes down, how like the kid can't take the shot, and then his dad.
But this is real. This happened.
He instantly redeemed himself. In a movie that would have taken like a good 20 minutes plus a montage somewhere in there. Man, I gotta make my dad proud of me again.
You get a full arc here. You get the full arc. It all comes back around by the end of the story. It just, I don't know. It seems a little too cinematic for it to be real, in my opinion. I don't know about this one.
Art imitates life.
This is how life. This is what was happening to young boys in the 70s. So let's listen to the wrap up of Big Bird, known as Batsquatch.
Manuel Perales realized that he was lucky to make it out alive. He suffered only cracked ribs, which healed with time. Manuel never forgot the actions of his son, the way the boy had saved his life.
After 2 frightening months in South Texas, the flying fiend abruptly disappeared. Though for anyone that crossed its path, the memory of the encounter burns bright.
That 15 or 20 seconds that we saw that creature is ingrained forever in my memories. Today, if I close my eyes, I can see that thing. I do remember those eyes, and that will take me to my grave, those glowing red eyes.
The eyes are going to kill him someday, I think is what he said.
Yeah. No, he meant what he said. He didn't get his idiom.
No, he's not going to take it with him to his grave. They're going to take him to his grave.
He's going to have eyeballs as pallbearers. It'll be great.
But this community is really lucky. Danny scared this thing off. These guys don't need to be worried anymore. This thing flew as far away from this kid as it could without getting a passport. It went to Washington State. It lived in a volcano until its spot got blown up. We can kind of track where Batsquatch went because of Danny.
Thanks, Danny. Jeez.
So you think it migrated towards the volcano? Is that what
you're... It can fly. He can go wherever he wants. Yes, he flew from Texas in the 70s to Mountain Helen, went far away from this kid, and maybe there was some tighter gun laws up there. He's in Texas. Even kids are shooting him. So you got to get out of there.
Yeah, I need to go to a more liberal area where they don't have guns all the time. It's like...
That's right.
Yeah, well, I mean, and then we're getting into this kind of singular thinking where there's just one of them.
There might be, but I wanted to ask you, what do you think of Batsquatch Stray? You think this is a fearsome foe among the winged weirdies? How is he going to do in a fight? You think this thing's a good... Would you put your money on this thing?
I mean, I don't know about the other guy yet, but yeah, he seems pretty, like, he doesn't like bullets, but he calls in airstrikes, so yeah.
All right, well, we'll have to see if the next one uses bullets. But Rob, do you have it in you to take that shot? Are you going to save your dad from a Batsquatch?
I feel like we've talked about this scenario in an episode in the past about how this is like a trope that happens in movies a lot, where there's like the father who's trying to teach his kid how to hunt, and for whatever reason the kid doesn't like hunting, and like, it doesn't go down how you would expect it to go down, sort of situation.
So no.
No, I don't. I don't.
Your dad's
I don't think.
All right,
I'm an animal lover. I love animals. I can't.
Batsquatch. It doesn't count as an animal. Batsquatch. You wouldn't save your dad from Batsquatch.
I would save my dad if I had to.
There you go.
If it came down to it, I would do what the kid did, and I would take that shot.
I'm not asking if you would shoot the deer.
I don't want to shoot the deer.
I didn't ask.
I don't want to shoot the little baby deer.
The deer is not part of this fight. We're trying to worry about Batsquatch.
I can't do it. I can't pull the trigger, Dad.
Now we know what a threat that the Batsquatch can present. So let's introduce the challenger in this war of winged weirdies, the Van Meter Visitor. 117 years ago, a strange creature was said to have paid a visit to the small town of Van Meter in Iowa. The strange event occurred in November of 1903. Several respected members of the community told of a mysterious half-animal, half-human winged creature that terrorized some of the town's residents during several nights in the course of the week. Descriptions of the beast suggest that it had large bat-like wings, left a terrible stench wherever it went, and... even stranger, it fired beams of bright light from its forehead. Oh. This is an older reported cryptid. It's got some unique features, making it, I think, a fearsome winged weirdie. Yeah. It's a giant half-human, half-bat mother. It can shoot lasers from its forehead.
That's pretty. Honestly, that is pretty fucking neato. Like, that's different than anything I've ever heard of before. I don't know what the bright lights do, but I mean...
They do
these
stuff.
Two guys together, it's party.
It could be
time.
lasers. Maybe it's a laser.
I just want to party, man. You guys.
This guy, for such a cool cryptid, he's got a really shitty name, though. What is that name?
Van Meter Visitor.
Van Meter Visitor. We're going to find out more about the Van Meter Visitor from author and vanguard of the Visitor, Chad Lewis.
The creature was said to be half human, half bat. It stood over 8 feet tall and had these giant featherless wings like a bird.
It all began here, where the town's brick and tile factory still sits, abandoned and crumbling.
It is an eerie place. Just being out there, you can get a sense of what these people went through in 1903, and it's not hard to imagine at all a giant bat-like creature flying out there today.
He's right. I'm imagining it now. It's not very hard at all.
I'm kind of confused. I thought I heard somebody say half bath.
No, it's not half bath. It's half bat. But this Chad Lewis guy, Chad Lewis is very passionate about this Iowa legend. This is this guy's thing. He's written books on it. He knows everything about it. And yes, he can just look at this old brick factory and he's like, I could picture that thing flying around. I got it.
I know I said it was a dumb name, but actually now coming to think of it, I'm glad he wasn't like, oh, it's Big Bird. You know, at least it's a little better than that.
I guess it can always be dumber, but it's still a pretty bad name.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. You can't tell what the hell it is. First off, like the name of the place doesn't even sound like a place. Like what?
It doesn't.
Van Meter.
Van Meter?
Yes, Van Meter, Iowa is where this took place. This is 1903. And Chad Lewis, he's got a lot of info on this bat monster that was visiting Van Meter. What's really going on, Chad?
I thought, well, this is going to be a fun case, but it's going to be very short because it was obviously a hoax. But as we started digging, we found there was a lot more to it. Approximately 1 a.m., local businessman Eugene Griffith was coming back to Van Meter after a day of travel, and he noticed a mysterious light hovering over the building. He thought it was a robber.
What? Okay.
The people that actually saw this monster, they claimed that he could jump from this building to that building.
It disappeared, only to reappear across the street. And Eugene Griffith was amazed by this, had no idea what was going on. People thought the light was nothing more than robbers with lanterns trying to scope out the bank. But they soon found out it wasn't.
It wasn't robbers with floating lanterns. If these were robbers, they wouldn't be very sneaky. Robbers, you have to not be seen to do robbing. And you have to think, it's got to be pretty easy to rob a bank in 1903, maybe. Or maybe you just could get away with it, scoping out with lanterns.
Yeah, well, just don't have lanterns. Get your eyes adjusted. Go when it's a full moon out, and don't hover on top of the buildings.
Well, it does sound ridiculous thinking of it in like modern day terms, you know, because like who would have a lantern? But back then, if you saw that, you would be like,
"That's a floating lantern. Or you're not getting away from me."
You know?
Exactly. That's how you get caught.
It sounds dumb at their time, too. Play soundboard 3. This is a dumb one for the soundboard, but actually play it a couple times. It gets better the more times you hear it.
He thought it was a robber.
I don't know why Chad Lewis, he got so excited.
He thought it was a robber.
Yeah.
Or a hoax.
Well, I mean, that's a little ridiculous. You mistook a cryptid for a robber. I don't think we've ever come across this situation before.
I can't really blame him for having that kind of panicked thought. You know, like when you can't even form the full thought in your brain yet. You're just seeing something, your mind's reacting to it like...
He thought it was a robber.
That would be my first thought if I saw weird lights.
Going
outside.
building to building, though, is the key. That this is not just your normal robber. He's jumping from building to builder.
Yeah, leaping from building to building. I like that detail.
But they were so concerned that robbers was the cause of this that the next night, bank manager Peter Dunn, he stood guard inside the bank with a gun, and he waited for these robbers to return. But he would soon find out that robbers was not the cause of this incident.
At 1 a.m. he heard the sound of someone strangling. At that moment, a bright light started shining into his room. Mr. Dunn grabbed his shotgun loaded with buckshot and blasted at this creature, shooting out the bank window. In order for Mr. Dunn, a well-respected businessman, to blow out the front window of the bank, something must have terrified him.
Peter Dunn was the boss. He run the town. Pete Dunn did. Whatever he said, that's it. So if he believed in the monster, everybody did.
This bat is just going to take Pete Dunn on like that? It's got to be real.
Whoa. Hold on. He's just going to take me on like that?
That was great. Oh, God. That sounds terrifying. And it just, I don't know.
He shot out his own bank window. I mean, hopefully he was insured, but I don't know, play soundboard 4. I like the guy, though, because what happened with Pete Dunn?
He run the town. Pete Dunn did.
Pete Dunn did.
He run the town, Pete Dunn.
Yeah, Pete Dunn did run Van Meter Town. And maybe this was a marketing campaign for Dunn's bank. He's like, look, I can defend your savings against laser-firing bat creatures and robbers. Maybe this was a little bit of a conspiracy in this town.
That's pretty good.
Pete Dunne running around the town just like shooting fucking windows out of buildings.
All right, I do want to watch this.
The Pete Dunne action remake. Rob's going to reboot the Okey cut of this.
Yes,
sure.
please.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's Pete Dunne, so he had to have shot that window out for a good reason. Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne.
It had to be a laser-firing bat monster, of course. The visitor would return again the next night, and this time he would cross paths with the town's doctor.
Next night, Dr. Alcott, who was sleeping above his office in the building, he was awoken at approximately 1 a.m. as well with a bright light. And this was so bright it nearly blinded him. So he grabbed his gun and bravely ran outside to confront what he must have thought were robbers as well. That's when he came face to face with this giant, what he called half-human, half-bat-like creature with featherless wings like a bat, with a blunt horn on its forehead and a light that would emanate from the horn. Dr. Alcott shot 5 of his 6 rounds at this creature, and either he missed all 5 rounds or they had no effect on the beast, and Dr. Alcott retreated. You can only imagine the terror going through his mind.
It might not actually be a laser. I'm going to take that back, but just a very bright light. Like it could blind you if you maybe stared at it for too long.
Would be popular at raves.
He's like one of those fish that you see, like the really deep water fish that have that flashlight attached to their
Oh
head.
yeah,
you ever seen those things?
the angler fish.
Yeah, he's like one of those, but he's like also kind of like Mothman-ish.
And now it's got a horn. It's got a horn too.
He's a horny.
You guys, just because they've got wings doesn't make it a Mothman.
Well, he's in that world. I think he's in that ranking. You know, like that. He's a winged weirdie. He's another. They're all fucking winged
Yeah, but none of them are
weirdies.
making bridges collapse or nothing. None of them are asking about, like, are you on
He's
your
robbing
period?
banks. He's robbing banks. He's trying to steal pills from the doctor. Maybe now this thing's up to no good. This visitor.
that's a whole different animal. That's a whole different beast. And Mothman didn't really. Mothman's not a partier. He just like creeps on people and watches them making
just
out.
watch him make out and stuff like that.
This guy's more like a Jeepers Creepers. I'm feeling maybe like in
those
that
paper wings. That's what I think too.
Yeah.
Whenever I think of that, I do think of Jeepers.
I'm just thinking of like a dinosaur, like just some kind of weird
pterodactyl kind of
creature.
thing.
Yeah,
So you're
that's what I'm
thinking
picturing. Versus
it's more just like a bird creature,
like a big bird with a.
You're thinking it's Big Bird.
Yes, yeah, you got me. I'm thinking it's Big Bird. He doesn't have the 50-foot wingspan, but he's got that really cool horn that lights up. But I think it's the horn thing I'm thinking of that makes it kind of sound a little bit more like a cryptid / animal that could exist because we
Sounds
have
like
like
Smoochie
rhinos
now.
and.
Almost. Yeah, he sounds like Smoochie with like a miner Smoochie, where he's got a mining hat on. And there's two possibilities here that we learn about the monsters. We're trying to figure out if this thing's a good fighter. This thing is either impervious to bullets or Dr. Alcott is a terrible shot because he had 5 shots he took, and he's like, I don't know, I either missed it or it just can't be shot.
Like, no, you guys, it's completely impervious to bullets. Otherwise,
That's what I would say.
Right?
I'd be like, I nailed that
it.
thing like I was Danny in Texas.
Well,
100 years from now or whatever.
Something that keeps I noticed in both of those stories, they get woken up by a light, which it sounds very UFO-ish also. Like the whole, the beginning of the experience reminds me a lot of what people say when they get abducted by aliens. And I know this thing is called
like
the
a UFO
Visitor.
Drone?
Is this thing
the Visitor?
Is he? You think this is like some sort of UFO drone or like an alien that they sent down possibly to check out what's going on? And
The
that's
bank?
Why, yeah. They sent him down to check out the bank. Maybe I don't know.
The great UFO caper of 1903 could be.
It could be an alien life form that has a horn that because it lights up. We
don't
do
think
have
the horn lights up,
bioluminescent
though.
I don't know.
animals.
Why is he horny though? Why has he got to have a horn? Like, what is this for?
Because God made him that way. I don't know.
I've never heard of a unicorn flying.
Hold on. No one said it's a
creature.
unicorn.
Oh.
I think the horn might be on his nose, like a rhino.
Look, we have all kinds of weird. When we described the anglerfish, you tell somebody there's a weird ass looking fish with like a crazy lower jaw and a light that hangs down over its face to draw in fish. You're like, get the fuck off of the crack, Jimmy.
Yeah, but this is more used as a weapon. This is like a weapon. This is to blind people, not to trick people. He's knocking people out with this thing.
And it makes sense. That sounds like an actual valid defense mechanism.
To call back to last week, it's like the platypus. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds completely ridiculous. But
once again, Rob's back in. He brought up platypus. He's like, well, I forgot the platypus was possible. I guess Van Meter Visitor.
I did some research. I did some research over the week.
Save it.
Very interested in those things. So we're going to have to talk about that at some point.
Good.
So at this point in the story, it has now been 3 consecutive nights that the visitor has arrived and caused havoc. The town of Van Meter is under siege. And then the 4th night, it would return again, this time targeting the hardware store and dead-eye shopkeeper Okey White.
The next evening, local businessman Okey White, who ran the hardware store, was awoken at 1 a.m. by the sound of screeching and grinding. He walked over to the window to take a look. He saw this giant visitor bat creature. Okey White was known as a great shot. He took deliberate aim, shot this giant visitor bat creature, and all it did was anger it. The creature turned its light right on Mr. White while releasing some type of odor. Mr. White said when he was hit by it, it erased his memory, and he has no idea what happened after he was hit by that mysterious odor.
And then it robbed the place.
That sounds like an ideal robber. I'm not convinced that it's not robbing places.
So not only this thing's power, he can blind you almost if you look at it. He can erase your memory with his stink spray.
Stinkies.
Yeah. He hit him with the old Men in Black. Like the
memory gas.
Yeah. I like that move, though. Like all of a sudden, nobody remembers what happened and he can just go about his business.
Well, there's the problem is that nobody remembers what happens after that point, but you still keep your memory from before.
The town was never the same. The economy crashed. There was a mysterious robbery, but no one knows what caused it.
I know. I don't know how the hell that happened. So weird.
After this first, 3 or 4 days of this, the townsfolk, they have had enough. The visitor has overstayed his welcome, so they gather every able-bodied person and weapon that they can, and they head for the local coal mine. Because everyone thinks that the coal mine is the source of this bat visitor monster. He said visitor so many times. He's trying to force the visitor on this thing. He's like, this mysterious visitor monster. Like, we're supposed to know what that means.
I'm glad I'm not the only one just completely thrown by this word. It's just, they're just trying with the...
giving him some unique. It's his
alliteration.
He's just visiting. He's not here forever.
They do need to hire a new writer. They definitely do. Because, it's just not doing it for any of us right now. This whole visitor.
I was somewhere else. I mean, I looked it up because Van Meter, I never heard of the town and everything, but what popped up first was Van Meter Monster. And I'm like, see, Meter Monster sounds better than Van Visitor.
Meter Monster? No, Chad Lewis has definitely branded it as the Van Meter Visitor because he has a book called The Van Meter Visitor, which I had brought up. I've actually read the book, The Van Meter Visitor, by Chad Lewis and a few of his friends. And, it is what it is. That's why maybe he only gets half an episode. That's why maybe I'm making him fight against a Batsquatch. My faith in his story.
Does the name imply that he was, only there for a short while? Like, he just visited?
Oh, well, Mothman? Are you going to bring this up again?
We're going to find out. We're going to find out the fate of the visitor now because the entire town heads to the coal mine, and here it is, the final showdown.
These were hardcore workers, manly men who you wouldn't think would get spooked by anything, yet they were too afraid to go investigate this mine. And at this point, the people of Van Meter had had enough.
They gathered all the dynamite, blew up the mouth of this cave, blocking the entrance, and never seen or heard from it again.
Finally, the beast that had visited the town and spread so much fear was banished. Its reign of terror ended. The old mine never reopened.
The area today where the mine sits is covered over with grass. Walking those grounds, you're just imagining what is below you. Are these deep caverns and tunnels full of these creatures still alive today? Or are they just merely closed off in a couple bodies?
No, there are thousands of them, and they're just waiting to pop out and go visiting the town again. That sounded like an easy solution. They just blew up this mine. They trapped it there forever. Is that the implication?
Yeah.
It got scared of the explosion or it died in the explosion.
Literally, that's the equivalent of sweeping it under the rug. Like the 100% just swept it under the refrigerator so that you never have to see the dust.
Exploding the mine is the new sweeping under the rug.
Yeah, what? I don't know. This is going to end up bad. Eventually, this thing's going to get out of this cave. There's Stephen King books, I think, where this happens. This never ends well.
It's very Hellier. It's coming out of a mine. It's Hellier. It's a weird monster coming around in the old times.
It's called a visitor, right? So it's going to revisit. This just opens it up for sequels. It's like he's back and he's pissed.
If it lived in the local coal mine, it's from the town. It's not a visitor. It's probably been there longer than these guys.
I was going to say that too.
It didn't come from somewhere far away. They're like, goodbye, visitor. Don't come back.
It's got a light attached to its head too, so it's basically like a miner. It's like it's made for it's going to thrive in this place. So I don't.
Right, alien drone miner. They send it down there to get the aliens what they want. They want some, I don't know, coal. What are they mining in Iowa? I guess coal, right?
Corn. I don't know.
I guess.
Yeah, mining for corn.
They're mining for corn. Corn good.
I like corn.
It makes you think if it was an alien drone that was sent down, that almost is like the most feasible option, I think, at this point, because they would have just abandoned it if it got caught up in a situation like that. Oh, I mean, it got tricked. The drone got tricked.
Oh, okay.
They pulled a quick one on them. And
I don't know. I think it's a bat monster that evolved in here, and it has that light, much like the fish you were discussing, and it just grew up in this mine, so it evolved that way. But there has been one modern sighting, and it leads some to believe that they aren't all trapped in that blown up mine. Town librarian Jolena Welker had a sighting at that old brick factory, and it gave her quite a fright, because it could still be out there. And now we're going to hear the final word on this from Chad Lewis, Visitor Vanguard.
I've spent many nights out by the old mine, and it is truly a creepy atmosphere out there. It doesn't take much to imagine that these creatures are still living there, and that if you look up into the sky, you might just see an 8-foot monster coming down after you.
In the heartland, if you're living out on a farm, your nearest neighbor might be too far away to hear you scream.
Very true. That is a big problem in some rural areas, is that you cannot scream loud enough to get your neighbor to help you if a bat monster attacks.
No, they need to set up like a series of lights and beacons for like distress signals.
It could be confused with visitors, though.
Yeah, exactly. It should be.
Yeah.
Danger.
And we've heard almost everything about this thing, and Batsquatch, he might have his own IPA, but the Van Meter visitor, he has something even cooler. He has his own cryptid festival.
What?
There is a Van Meter Visitor Festival. The first festival was held in 2013, and every September since, the Van Meter Visitor Festival has celebrated a strange and spooky legend from long ago in the city of Van Meter, Iowa. I've seen some walkthrough videos of this festival. You can find them on YouTube. They have lots of merch tables. They got different cryptid crafts, and there's paranormal teams selling their wares like koozies and ice scraping cards, which I didn't know was some merch you could get. We need Unbelievers podcast ice scraping cards. They were selling them for $2. I think we can do that.
We should make some dish rags too while we're at it.
Could do that. We'll make Van Meter Visitor dish rags. Even Chad Lewis, who we heard in there, he had a table set up with his numerous books and some other fun stuff. It looks like a fun time. Unfortunately, the festival, it had to go virtual last year, which is not fun.
Bummer.
But they are making it happen again this year in September. So if you can't make it a Mothman, I don't know, maybe go check this out. They have a Facebook page, and that's a free plug for them.
Where the hell is Van Meter?
Iowa. Where all the excitement
Where the hell is Iowa?
Where the hell is Iowa? What is that? What's Iowa?
Shout outs to any of our listeners from Iowa. You guys.
And please tell us where that's
truly
located.
The VIPs.
Shout out to Iowa. Check out your Van Meter local monster festival.
It sounded like it was Canadian.
Iowa or Van Meter?
Van Meter. I think the name.
Yes.
Van Meter.
No, Van Meter. Well, then the accents too from some of these people. But
that's true.
That was throwing me. I forgot that we just talked about the corn in the mines.
And I'm distracting us with festival talk. I apologize. But I'm more worried about who the winner is going to be in this war of winged weirdies. So, Drea, would you like to make an argument for one of these creatures? Who do you think has an advantage in this? The Batsquatch or the Van Meter Visitor?
I'm going to say the Van Meter Visitor because he's got like multiple defense mechanisms. He's got the stink that makes you forget things that happen in the future. And he's got the light that blinds you. The other guy's just got talons.
He's got talons. He can stop cars.
A fur coat.
He already stinks. And if he's a Batsquatch, Squatch has implied his name. Maybe the stink won't have a factor. That light, though, that probably would throw you off, especially if you're nocturnal and flying. But he can do airstrikes. I don't know. Who do you like, Rob?
Right, airstrikes.
What giant bat monster can get the job done, you think?
I have to agree with Drea that Van Meter is more well prepared for this fight, does bring more to the table. Does have the advantage as far as it can blind its opponent. But
got stealth. He can rob banks.
Yeah, but on the other end, Batsquatch is just like pure strength and like pure just ferocity. I feel like this thing is just a monster, and it'll get you when you don't expect it. It sneaks up on you. It's got that going on. So
if you get it close enough to get handed like one-on-one combat, like face to face, then that'd be the real battle. But so far, I mean, shit, I forgot about the airstrikes.
Yeah, like I think
it'd be a stinky battle.
It depends on how this
get together.
It depends on how this fight's going down. I think that if Batsquatch got the jump on Van Meter, it might be pretty damn close because sounds like he can do some damage. But Van Meter, I feel like could turn it around pretty quickly
and they are fighting in the Rio Grande Valley where there's nowhere to hide, no mines to blow up,
is
or
Danny
anything
there?
like that. Yeah, just like Danny has to know.
Okay.
We have to sideline him. He would definitely take on both of these things. It's not solely up to us though. Listeners, you get a say in this too. So just go to unbelieverspodcast.com to vote. Who wins the war of the winged weirdies? Is it the Batsquatch? Is it the Van Meter visitor? Is it other? So go vote and let us know in this little mini war of winged weirdies. But now we must move on.
Don't ask me why, don't ask me why. Nobody has to try. But where you come from, I've already been. Come right now when you can see it. That's where I come from, nobody knows where I'm
no one knows. That's Destroy All Monsters with Nobody Knows.
Nice.
Get some monster music in here. I had to switch it up after last week. Man, our first battle of... Man, I'm exhausted from that. Having to think about these two monsters going at each other. There's a big monster fighting movie coming up soon. This is kind of our version, right?
Yeah, this is a more interesting version, though, because everybody knows who's going to win in that movie.
Maybe. I don't know.
Who should.
Wait, hold on.
Everybody knows who should logically win.
Let's figure this out. Let's figure this out real quick before we move on.
We're gonna figure
Who's
it out
going to
real
win
quick.
that fight, Godzilla or Kong? Who's winning,
Godzilla,
guys?
dude.
Godzilla, you think he's got it?
Gigantic
Godzilla?
monster.
What are you talking about?
Oh, okay.
Like blasts.
Russ is thinking other way around.
Kong, easily. You guys, there's not even
He's
a
a
contest.
monkey. He doesn't. He can't blast like fire and beams out of his mouth and shit. He's just got stupid little monkey fists.
He'll figure it out. He always
sure. He's gonna grab ladies until he wins.
Come on, let's get real here, guys. They're gonna have to work together to fight the real villain. We all know that's where this is gonna go in the end. So,
you saying our winged weirdie show up like a Van Meter? There's gonna be a visitor approaching.
That's implying that Mothra's coming in too.
Rest in peace.
I like that idea.
Rest in peace, Mothra. Sorry, spoiler alert. Rest in peace, Mothra.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Rob, what the fuck?
I'm sorry.
Damn
I'm the worst. I'm sorry.
Another winged weirdie done gone. Well, maybe help us decide at least this debate. We'll never know who wins between King Kong and Godzilla because no one's
that
going to see
movie
that.
will never be released.
But you guys will listen next week and hear some great poll results. But now let's move on. It's time for everyone's third favorite segment, poll results. This week's poll, what's the best name for Bearilla? And the choices were werewolf, bear dog, dogman, or Bearilla. I'm going to ask you, Drea Mora, what do you think the Unbelievers said?
I mean, I think they're going to stick with Bearilla because everyone's thinking pasta now.
They are. What about you, Rob?
Yeah, the name grew on me over the whole episode, over this past week. So, I hope that they chose Bearilla.
All right, congratulations. Both of you guys tied for first with 5% of the vote. Bearilla tied with Dogman. That was the other option that they liked. Nothing else got any votes except that. But of course, there are others. What's the best name for Bearilla? Hey, I got a new clip. I'm an extra special mongoose now. Signed, my name is Jeff. My name is Jeff coming back. Yeah, you got his new clip.
Welcome back.
My name is Jeff.
All right.
Love to hear
Jeff
it.
feeling a little extra special tonight. What's the best name for Bearilla? Madonna Armpit Beast Ugly Mother Effer. A motherfucker, sorry. Signed, Turd Burglar. Madonna Armpit Beast. That's a good name for it.
Okay.
Thank you, Turd Burglar.
Half human, half like fucking ugly motherfuckers. It's like,
thank you for chiming into our burglar.
Madonna's armpit is very scary, actually.
What's the best name for Bearilla? Does a Bearilla pupilla in the Woodzilla? Signed, Triad Emergency. That's a good question. I think we got some kind of Bearilla clip for that.
Bearilla lurks in these woods.
Zilla. Well, Woodzilla. I tried for you.
Woodzilla.
I tried Triad Emergency.
Like
What's the best name for Bearilla? Berenstein Bearilla. Because he's from the timeline where it's spelled the original and correct way. Signed, Masked Blogger. All right,
I like that one a lot.
Berenstein. He spells it Berenstein Bearilla the correct way. Great one, Masked Blogger. What's the best name for Bearilla? I saw Bearilla out back in 07, but my mom said I was full of beans. Signed, Gas. Okay, thank you, Gas. Oh, bringing.
Yeah, but my mother thought I was full of beans, so.
Yes, okay. But Bearilla's out there, Gas. You'll find it. What's the best name for Bearilla? The noise Trapper made when the Sheep Squatch gave him a golden shower. R.I.P. Signed, the Wombat Preservationist. So Bearilla should be called, what, this? Thank you, Wombat Preservationist.
Suck it up, you son of a bitch, Trapper. Suck it up.
R.I.P. Trapper.
I like it. Abstract.
What's the best name for Bearilla? MILF. Sorry, I meant Violet Flame. Signed, Voodooed. Do we have a Violet Flame like sound clip? I think we've got a shorter one, don't we?
Oh, I think we've got maybe one.
Yeah, that was short. Thank you, Voodooed.
For some reason, I thought it was Violet Monroe for a second. I got excited. It was just it was the other one, the other Violet.
I get more excited for Violet Flame
Monroe,
myself.
Violet Flame kind of mashup. Yeah, Corrupted Mask. Get on that one. But thank you so much, Voodooed. That was a very good one.
Don't.
What's the best name for Bearilla? Bear Dog, Hog Dogs, Wiener Dogs, Footlong Dogs, Reservoir Dogs, Tent Dogs. Fuck you, Beverly. Signed, Green Fin Hawk.
That was great.
Bear dogs and hog dogs.
Reservoir Dog.
And, of course, our least favorite, the...
Carrying a tent dog.
And the weird Frankenstein clip. Play that one.
You, Beverly.
Thanks, Green Fin Hawk. Funny as always. What's the best name for Bearilla? Life is a miracle, but some lives stretch the definition of miracle. Signed, Mothman Mother. Mothman Mother.
Very
giving
deep.
us one to think about. Thank you, Mothman Mother.
Introspective, yeah.
What's the best name for Bearilla? Just a dirty gray yalla bear dog. Signed, Lid Vicious. Keeping it simple, Lid Vicious. I love it.
You know, a dirty gray turned into yalla.
Bear dog. Very good. Very good. Thank you. What is the best name for Bearilla? How about the thing that has the virus? Because we all be like, what happened? Signed, Unbeliever Carol.
Yes, I knew that was Carol's.
Perfect.
Find out if there was a virus.
If we did, we'd all be like,
What happened?
Never
came up for it.
She just loves those clips. She just likes hearing those clips every week.
I love it.
Thank you, Unbeliever Carol. What's the best name for a Bearilla? Ugly Motherfucker. Signed, Harley Warren. Okay, Harley's keeping it simple.
Cool.
Half human, half like fucking ugly motherfuckers. It's like
pretty good for Bearilla. Thank you, Baron Davis and Harley Warren. What's the best name for Bearilla? I think the dude looking for Bearilla needs to pick up his brain and read a book about bears. Signed Blue Box UFO. Yeah.
You need to pick up your brain and read a book.
About Bearillas or bears.
Yeah.
About bears.
Great one as always, Blue Box UFO. What's the best name for Bearilla? Signed, Charles Jude Prestia. Oh, God.
Whoa.
No.
Whoa.
Oh, no.
Holy
Why did
shit.
you
Wait,
do
no,
that?
I said it
Who
too.
did that?
Oh, no.
Character assassinating.
Look, bleep mine out. You left Jude's in there. I heard that last week. Poor Jude. Okay, well,
Please listen to last week's episode to get that
Okay,
reference.
I remember what that's from now. Okay. I calmed down.
Thank you.
Fine.
Jude is
There's
not.
no clip for that, Charles Jude Prestia. I'm sorry, we're not clipping that. You're not going to soundboard with that. What's the best name for Bearilla? John Candy. Signed, Pants Filler. Wow, that is a great deep cut. And
How dare you.
Great. Great jab at Rob. Oh, perfect. Thank you so much, the guy who is...
Be throwing up and filling my pants.
And our final one for this evening. What's the best name for Bearilla? Bearilla loves hiking in the woods and drinking his own piss. What? Oh, that's a bear gorilla. Ah, shit. Signed, Trash Baby. Oh, all right. Give him one more of those P clips. Thank you, Trash Babies. Man, so many great ones. As always, man, y'all got to go vote this week because we've got the Winged Weirdies War. We're going to find out next week who is the baddest. But this week, we had some great ones. We had, My Name is Jeff with, hey, I got a new clip. I'm an extra special mongoose now. We had Turd Burglar with Madonna Armpit Beast, ugly motherfucker. We had Triad Emergency with, does a Bearilla Pupilla in the Woodzilla? We had Masked Blogger with Berenstein Bearilla because he's from the timeline where it's spelled the original and correct way. We had had Gas with I saw Bearilla out back in 07, but my mom said I was full of beans. We had the Wombat Preservationist with the noise Trapper made when the Sheep Squatch gave him a golden shower. R.I.P. A lot of people are referencing that P thing. I don't know where. Maybe because we played Huckleberry last week. I have no idea where the association comes. We had Voodoo with MILF, 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 MILF. Sorry, I meant Violet Flame. We had Green Finhawk with Bear Dogs, Hot Hog Dogs, Wiener Dogs, Footlong Dogs, Reservoir Dogs, Ted Dogs. Fuck you, Beverly. You had Mothman Mother. Life is a miracle, but some lives stretch the definition of a miracle. We had Lid Vicious with just a dirty gray yalla bear dog. We had Unbeliever Carol with how about the thing that has the virus? Cause we all be like, what happened? We had Harley Warren with Ugly Motherfucker. We had Blue Box UFO. I think the dude looking for Bearilla needs to pick up his brain and read a book about bears. We had Charles Dupresti chiming in. We had Pants Filler with John Candy. And finally, we had Trash Baby with Bearilla loves hiking in the woods and drinking his own piss. What? That's Bear Gorilla. Ah, shit. Drea Mora, I'm going to ask you, who do you think won this week's poll?
I had to give it to Masked Blogger with Berenstein Bearillas. It's just that ties in so many things.
I like that one a lot,
It just
too.
makes the most sense.
Who do you like, Rob?
I do like how the last guy who ribbed me a little bit and called it John Candy. I did think that was pretty funny, very creative.
Very good
callback.
Very deep cut.
Good callback. Yeah, very deep cut. I'm sorry, I was flustered when I made that mistake. I was never going to live that down. But I really loved Madonna's armpit monster. That one was really funny too. I thought that was really, really good. But I got to go with the Berenstain.
You like that one too? All right.
As well. Yeah, I think that one was the one.
Well, congratulations, Masked Blogger with Berenstein Bearilla, because he's from the timeline where it's spelled the original and correct way. Congratulations, you just won this week's poll results. Well, we come to the end of the program, but before we go, Drea Mora, do you have anything you'd like to say or plug?
Just check out the store again. We have the one at Cafe Press is still up, but we're also on, what is it, TeePublic?
Yes, TeePublic, and there's a link, I think, in the description here. Correct, Rob?
Yes, there's always a link in the description
there it is.
To our website, so you can also vote on next week's poll if you want to start doing that. If maybe you're just a lurker listener every week and you don't participate in poll, just click that little link in the description, and then you can get into it next week.
Do it right there, and you can start getting in there. And there's great poll results. You get a magnet. Maybe you'll come on the show like Michelle did last week, where she beat Bono Yoger.
That was so much fun.
What about you, Rob? You got anything to plug?
I'll plug our Patreon. There's also a link to our Patreon in there. We're going to record a new Patreon episode soon, so there'll be something to look out for there. And we have our Signs commentary up on there, so if anybody wants to watch Signs with us, you can still do that. Content. That's not going anywhere. So yeah, check out the bonus content if you're not already at Patreon.
Great. And I'm just going to plug our buddy Raymond Rowell from Project Raven Creative. He has done so many great original images for us this season. For every episode, whatever great images you see us post.
He's killing
this
it.
Week,
he's the best.
He did a vintage boxing style poster with the Van Meter monster and the Batsquatch going at it in honor of this episode. I just want to let him know I really appreciate that. And his medal is almost there. The medals from last year. By this time, Mike Henry and Taylor, they've got their medals. They're sporting them proud. And that's it. The Unbelievers podcast hosts today were Drea Mora and me, Rus Ryan. Our producer and soundboard engineer is Rob Okey. Get our tarot cards at unbelievablepodcards.com. You can go join that Patreon by going to patreon.com/unbelieverspodcast. You can follow the show on Twitter at unbelieverspod and Instagram at unbelieverspodcast. Our Facebook group is the Unbelievable Podcast Network. And check out that merch store that Drea mentioned at TeePublic. That link is in the description. Fun stuff there. And thank you so much to our patrons: Chad Buddha, Chris Stroker, Jeffrey Hartranft, Louis Pion, Scott E, 8-Bit Melody, Jenny Dyer, Christopher Balderrama, David Egelhoff, Pam Z, JT Sprankler, Vic Voss, Little BB, Dr. Ortega, Tyler Ventura, Adam Dvorak, Corrupted Mass, Michael Phillips, Ruri Axel, Carol Valley, Manny, MQ Ultra, CJP, Braden Hitt, Raymond Roel, Todd X, Christopher Panici, The Moon, The Judgy Moon, Mike Henry, Bryce Cronenberg Jr., Dawn Bright, Shannon Ferrigno, Tom O'Connell, Mark Braun, Donna Bass, Shanna Stevens, Cat Chaos, Jason Kelly, Mike, Brian Ashton, Michael Armenta, Jackass, The Wombat Preservationist. Our music advisor is Pandora3373. Our official composer and theme song creator is Unbeliever A.A. Ron, a.k.a. Aaron Schilb. Follow him on Instagram at the Aaron Schilb. Our official graphic designer and card maker who designed our logo is Raymond Roel. Check out his work at P. Raven Creative on Twitter and Project Raven Creative on Instagram. Our official Unbeliever without a title still is Nicholas Sarastavi. Get a title. Our official Unbeliever Racing Puck Watchies is Joe Filler. Our official Hawaiian Paranormal Investigator is Green Finhawk. Our official Resident Sagittarius is Gozanton. Our official Madman is Unbeliever Adam. Our official Mothman Enthusiast is Michael Shields. Our official Unbeliever's Inside Man is Chris De Moraes. Our official Unbeliever Peacefully Eating a Hamburger is Michelle Durham. Our official Unbeliever's Time Traveler is Taylor Nelson. Our official Ghost Hunter is Amelia Childs and Ghost Hunting in New England. And of course, Hubie Halloween on Netflix. Our official Senior European Correspondent is Kay Middle of the I Don't Know podcast. Our official Guardian that benches at Kraken Stacker. Our official Alien Bopper is Nunchuck Bob. And this week's Unbeliever Focus is Phil Foss at TYO Toys on Twitter, who thought that Barilla was a good episode. But he did take some issue with the terrible Zydeco Barilla Woman song, and he made sure to tell me,
what is this junk you're always listening to? When are you going to get some decent music in here?
Good night. Pete Duncan.
Running scared. Scary monsters. Super creeps. Keep me running scared. Discontinue.